tree. We are all the leaves of one tree. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the leaves of one tree. We are all the waves of one sea. We are all the waves of one sea. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the waves of one sea. We are all the stars of one sky. We are all the stars of one sky. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the stars of one sky. We are all the leaves of one tree. We are all the waves of one sea. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the stars of one sky.
One more time. So we will sing one more time, okay? We start by violin.
We are all the leaves of one tree. We are all the leaves of one tree. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the leaves of one tree. We are all the waves of one sea. We are all the waves of one sea. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the waves of one sea.
Stars, sky.
We are all the stars of one sky. We are all the stars of one sky. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the stars of one sky. We are all the leaves of one tree. We are all the waves of one sea. The time has come for all to live as one. We are all the stars of one sky.
Pradamena, you are here? Come, please come. We didn't see you. So we would like to ask Pradamena to come. We sing the song Simple Things. Two more songs. I think we can sing the Simple Things first, and then if we have a time, we sing one more song. So this is song number 12, Simple Things number 12. Okay. get
my joy from the simple things coming from the earth. I get my joy from the sun that shines and the water speaks to me. Listen to the wind and listen to the water. Hear what they say. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. I get my joy from the simple things coming from the earth. I get my joy from the sun that shines and the water speaks to me. Listen to the wind and listen to the water. Hear what they say. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey.
We sing one more song. Please call me by my true name. So the song number 19, this is the last one we will sing this morning. Please call me by my true name. So when we sing these songs, let ourselves to breathe in and out, to listen to your heart and to feel the compassion, to feel the deep listening to yourself, but at the same time to feel the body, okay, in the present moment with the Sangha.
My joy like spring, so warm, it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pains like a river of tears, so vast it fills the four oceans. Please call me by my true name, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so that I can wake up and the door of my heart will be left open. From the top. My joy like spring, so warm, it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pains like a river of tears, so vast it fills the four oceans. Please call me by my true name, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call true names, so that
I can wake up
and
the
the
door of my heart could be left open. The door of compassion.
So thank you so much. Hopefully the monastics Q&A panel are here. So I think so thank you, children. Thank you so much. Please come back to the seat. You can all the children and teens, please come to sit in front, okay? The first and the second row. And then when we hear the small sound of the bell, we would like to ask all the Dharma teachers Q&A panel, please come up for the offer Q&A.
So, dear respected Thai and dear beloved Sangha, and good morning, everyone. On the last few days, we have a chance to practice together, working together, and also sharing together. So, how's everything so far? Good? It's okay, huh? I noticed some of you cannot sleep. You meet your best at home. And also the environment kind of new for you. Some of you cannot feel comfortable. So, but you're still here. So that's the good news. And this morning we have a section of question and response. We try our best to answer for your question. The question based on the practice, how you can continue the practice, how the practice can nourish you, can help you in your life. how the practice can help you when you're facing the difficulty with the family, with the society, with yourself. And good question doesn't need to be long. And good question benefit for many people, for all of us. And the question again, based on the practice, not on the book, not on the theory. And we will have some question for the younger one, and also the young adult, and then adult. So I would like to invite you, if you have any question, please come forward and sit here and get on the line. So save a lot of time for us. And to be continued, I would like to ask our brother and sister up here to introduce themselves for you. And each of us, we came from different practice center. So on the far side of my sister Hương Nghiêm, she will say something, introduce her to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Hương Nghiêm, or True Fragrance. I'm glad to be here and hope you have lots of questions for us, especially the younger children and the teens. Just a little secret. When people ask us monastics for our age, we tend to share our monastic age instead of our life age because we're much younger as monastics. So, enjoy the Q&A. Dear Thai, dear beloved community, it's beautiful to look out at all of you and to see the change over the last few days, to see everybody's face opening up. My name is Sister Trì Nhiêm, and that means Sister True Holding. I'm from Magnolia Grove Monastery in Mississippi. Mississippi is beautiful. In case you think, oh, I'm never going there, it's really lovely. I can recommend it. Yeah, my Magnolia Grove siblings are giving flowers. We love it. Look around how much we love Magnolia Grove. We love Blue Cliff too. We love all our centers. So Sister Hương Nghiêm is from Deer Park Monastery. Yeah, I think that's it. We hope you have easy questions for us today. Thank you.
So dear respected Thầy, dear brothers and sisters, dear Sangha, my name is Brother Man Tuệ, for the insights. I'm come from Deer Park Monastery. I used to stay in here 5 years. And I just moved back to Deer Park 1 year, more than a year now. Deer Park Monastery from California. California is beautiful. So the weather is so nice, the mountains so beautiful. And so in our delegation from Deer Park Monastery, we have 12 brothers and 13 sisters came to this tour in Blue Cliff Monastery settlement. So I'm happy and ready for the easy questions. Okay.
So, dear Sanghas, my name is Brother Fablak, Dharma Happiness. I'm stay here in this Blue Cliff Monastery. Blue Cliffs are kind of ugly. We have a lot of trees. We have lotus flower. It's the only thing beautiful we have you. So we end it here. Now, time for question, please. Now, the children, if you have any question, please come. Now we sit and then we listen one sound the bell, and then after that we will have a question. So, children, if you like to ask, you can come and sit next to him on the cushion.
So I have been wondering, in the summertime, when there's like flies, gnats, wasps around you, and you want to get rid of them mindfully, what do you do?
I feel like a fire now, a smoke, a fire in this question. Very good question. Mississippi, Deer Park.
It is a very good question, and you're very mindful of your surroundings. From what I hear is that those insects, they are attracted to us when our blood sugar is high. So if you don't eat too much sugar, they tend to, less tend to surround you. Mosquito-wise, it's pretty much, if you're not too allergic to mosquito bites, see a little bit like you're donating a drop of blood for them. Because they can't really, their lifespan, it's much, much shorter than ours. And if you can donate a drop of blood, it might be able to, for them to live a little longer. Because even if they don't bite you, after 2 or 3 days, they die off. But if you are allergic, then there are things, natural things, that you can use around yourself to avoid attracting them. I'm not sure with the flies and different insects have different things they are averse to. They don't like it. So if you can find out, then you can avoid actually having to, like, being mindful. So like you're saying, you're mindful of taking care of them, not to like squat them. Because again, a little show of compassion and nourish that in yourself. Like citronelle, or I believe like lemon and cloves. If you put those together, they tend to scare away bees and wasps. And of course, if you're allergic, then you need to have those things that would help you combat the allergy reactions. There are people, though, who just one bite, one sting from bee could make them, they can't breathe, they swell up too quickly. So we need to be aware of our friends who have those reactions so we can take better care of them. Okay, thank you for your question.
How do you tend to train your body physically when you're staying in a position like cross-legged for hours on end? And is it something that you can train, or is it different for everyone?
You mean when we sitting meditation?
So every practices here is a training. We train every day, and for the sitting meditation, for the sitting posture, we not only one posture, one position, but we have so many positions, at least 3 or 4. So we can do the cross legs, or we can do just we call the full lotus, 2 legs crossed together, or half lotus, one on the top of other, or just sit 2 legs beside the cushion. And also, some of us have a little pain in our back. We also sit on the chair. But mainly is we sit in the most comfortable position. So our position always help us to focus, but at the same time to relax. So usually we not sit the whole day, but we sit in the morning about 30 minutes or 45 minutes for sitting meditation, and then we can have also we have exercise, and then we have a walking meditation. In the afternoon, we also have about 30 minutes or so. During the day, sometimes you want to sit. We also sit about sometimes just half an hour or so. The main thing is we train ourselves to focus on our breathing, our breath, and we can calm our mind and our body. And sometimes there is something you feel interested. For example, you sit in front of the computer, in front of your play video game. Actually, you sit very long, right? Actually, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you don't know the time passed by. But when you sit still, you feel something exhausted, something because you're struggling so much. That is meditation. Sometimes we have an object of meditation. So when we sit, we follow our breathing, and we stay with our breath, and then we stay with our posture with relaxing awareness. So we start 5 minutes and 10 minutes first, and then when we feel familiar, get used to it, and we do longer and longer. Okay, so you may start at home, 5 minutes, 10 minutes training to sit comfortably, any posture that you like, but always not always cross or 2 legs. So I think everything needs some time to train. And when you feel interested into it, and you feel good about your body, and then you continue to increase the time. But not every time we do 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay. So, and then when you feel tired, then you can change. You can change your legs. Yeah, of course, and change mindfully every morning. We see some of us feel tired, and we can change our legs mindfully. Thank you.
why do we have to wake up so early? And some people skip breakfast. It's like 7 o'clock, and I mostly kind of skip breakfast.
Sister T, she will answer your question. She wake up very early.
Because I want to have my day longer. So sometimes we have 24 hours, right? And then you sleep about 20 hours. How many hours you left? 4 hours. So I think in a monastery, probably we wake up earlier, but in this retreat, for adults, we wake up early, but for the children and teens, we offer your time, space until breakfast. So I think you don't have to wake up early, but you feel, our teacher said that when you wake up and you smile, wake up this morning, I smile. And then you feel you're alive, and you feel, there are 24 hours are before me. And then I want to live deeply and fully, and to use the eyes of compassion to shine lights on my life, my family, and myself. You see? And when you practice that, you feel the day is very inspired. That's why you want to wake up early. And also, you love breakfast. You don't want to miss breakfast. So, you don't need to wake up. You don't have to wake up early. But when you inspire, the day you want to wake up early, so that the day for you become longer for you to enjoy. Yeah, thank you.
What would happen, because I know here people we walk very slowly and mindfully, but if you needed to, if you were late for something and you still needed to walk slowly, but you were in a hurry, how would you do that? What would you do?
We walk slow when we set up the time to practice. But during the day, we can sum up us. They run. And if you have time to go to the kitchen, you will see the monastic brother and sister, they run in the kitchen. Because they have to cook for 300 people. So they cannot move slowly like this. And the food cannot finish. No, the cook cannot offer the food. We do everything. We try our best to apply the mindfulness to our daily life. When we walk, when we eat, when we lie down, and also when we work. Every morning, if you are aware, you see a lot of people, a lot of our friends, they're working to prepare everything for this retreat. Everybody try the best they can. So we can do fast. Welcome. Thank you for your question. Now, how about teen, young adult, and adult, please come. Save the time. We don't have much time.
old do you have to be to become a nun or a monk?
Good question.
Become monastic, we first need to have the intention and the curiosity. So coming into to the monasteries to start seeing how a life of practice would fit you. We had young people coming to our monasteries as young as 11 and 12. Just being year-round, or more 3 months, 6 months year-round, to actually only after the fit for both the community and the young person that the decision's made. I'm trying to remember the baby monks and nuns. Were they like 14, 15? Yeah, 14, 15 were accepted at that time. So take a look and check out when you have a chance. I'm not sure when in the U.S. we might have it, but in Thailand, the tradition of Buddhism in Thailand is slightly different. That they have what we call Yo-yin. It's like to cultivate favorable conditions. So young men are actually become monastic for 3 months before they get married, before they make a decision that they want to be married. So at least they know the practice of meditation, the practice of monastics. It's in their culture. So within our community in Thailand, we also incorporate a little bit of that to allow young people to come and be monastics for 3 months. And eventually some of them stay on and become monastics for life. So we have baby monks and nuns in Thailand for 3 months throughout the year. So good luck. So we'd like to invite the teens to queue up if you have questions, and maybe 5 or 6 of those questions we'll turn it over to adults. Thank you.
How do you deal with feeling lonely? Feeling lonely.
Benjamin. Yeah. I'm really thankful to Blue Cliff that all the name tags are so big. That's such an important question. I think it's probably a question that every person in the hall wants to hear the answer to. I think many, many people feel lonely. Even those that look like they're really popular and have lots of friends, they also have times when they feel lonely. And we can't tell from the outside if somebody is feeling lonely or not. For myself, when I feel lonely is when I have become disconnected from others and the world around me. But the root cause is the disconnection from myself. So that disconnection is linked to beliefs that I've inherited about myself. So they may have been beliefs passed on through my parents that I've internalized about not being good enough, not being enough, like we heard yesterday. And that belief is very strong. And normally our parents are completely unaware that they have transmitted that feeling to us. They have no idea that we might feel like we're not good enough or not enough. But that feeling takes root inside, and it accompanies us throughout life. And it makes other feelings come up, like I don't look good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not funny enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too thin. Every other internal criticism. So when I feel lonely, I observe the feeling. And I know it's not about my environment. It's only about me. Because the same environment, I can feel happy and connected to everyone, or I can feel completely alone and lonely. So it doesn't depend on who's around me. It only depends on my state of mind and where my thoughts are going and what I'm believing in. So what helps me is just to recognize, oh, I'm feeling lonely. And to take care of that, like to take that seriously. I never had a teddy bear growing up. And I shared that in a Dharma sharing last year, about how my brother and sister, they had teddy bears, and I always wanted one and never got one. And the week later, a teddy bear arrived in the post. And I was really grateful. I mean, you can see how old I am. I'm not going to say it, but you can see I'm not a kid anymore. And I was so happy to have this teddy bear. And I took it when I was feeling lonely, and I cuddled it. And I comforted myself, knowing, oh, I'm not alone, I've got this teddy bear. And it really helped. So it's amazing, the power of a teddy bear. And you're never too old to receive one. So the other thing is that I know that that feeling won't last. Although when I'm in that feeling, I have the impression it will last forever and it will never change. But the Buddha says that everything is impermanent, and I know that my feelings are impermanent. So when I'm feeling really bad and lonely and cut off, now I just know, okay, practice patience. This will pass. I won't always feel like this. I practice patience and I wait. And during the time of waiting, I try to be gentle to myself and compassionate with myself. I don't beat myself up for feeling lonely, and I don't add fuel to that emotion. I don't go around looking at, like, look, they're not lonely, look how many friends they've got. Because that's an illusion. I have no idea how the others are feeling. So even if I think, oh, everyone has a friend, I'm the only one who doesn't have a friend, I can recognize that that thought is not beneficial. First of all, it's not real because I have no idea. I know it's just a thought. So I don't allow it to have so much power over me. And I know that feeling lonely is inevitable. It's a part of life that we can't avoid. It's like feeling hungry. You know, we can't go through life without feeling hungry, and we can't go through life without ever feeling lonely. And if there are long stretches of feeling lonely, it's really good to talk to someone about it, to express that we feel lonely. So find somebody who's a good listener, who won't judge, who won't give us advice, who will just listen, who can just listen to our pain of being lonely in this moment. When I find someone who can listen like that, that loneliness just lifts. It just vanishes. I feel connection. I feel this person has heard me. They have heard and they've seen my pain. I'm not alone. So I don't need to have a whole lot of friends for my happiness, but I do need to have good listeners. Yeah. So I hope that you can find a good listener. And if we don't have one in our family, if we don't have it in our circle of friends, there should be, I don't know much about the American school system, but there should be a counselor at school, or somebody in your church, or somebody if you have a local youth group, or a sangha, and there are always hotlines, right? So there are professionals we can reach out to, and very often we don't need to pay anything. So we need to find out who they are, and when the loneliness is really unbearable, we can reach out to them. Yeah, thank you.
We'd like to ask that the children program can invite the children to go outside and play with their program. The teens can continue with their questions, and after, for the adults, they are all invited to stay on with the adult session. So with the sound of small bell, the children to stand up and turn around and bow to your family members and the adults. And slowly walk outside to get your shoes and enjoy your playtime and practice time. Bye-bye. So teens, please come on forward if you can and sit in a comfortable but upright position. And adults, if there's space in front of you, feel free to move up so we don't feel lonely up here with blanks, empty seats.
If mindfulness is about being in the moment, then how do you think back on the past?
Thank you for your question. I will answer that because that's the easy one. our practice is focused or we based on the present moment, here and now. Here and now will help you to cultivate the energy. We call the energy of mindfulness. That mindfulness will helping you to recognize what happened inside of you and around you. That mindfulness also the energy to helping you to recognize the past and also to plan about the future. For example, we talk about our monastery. We always plan 1 year ahead. And then we post on the online so everybody, they know they can prepare the time and space so they can come to practice. That means when we base in the practice here and now, the here and now can help us to plan ahead and also to embrace any difficulty in the past if we have. And when we stay in the present moment, that energy will helping us to embrace the difficulty, also recognize what the condition we have in the here and now. In the practice, if you come to practice with us, you will hear many times we talk about happiness. And also that's also one of our Dharma seal, plummet Dharma seal. Because only here and now will help you to realize the real thing around you, the all condition around you. And also here and now will help us to develop the past. For example, few minutes later, if you walk out that door, everything in here become a past. Do you agree? And if right here and right now, if you feel happy, you feel calm, you feel joyful, you feel exciting with the retreat here and now. So when you walk out that door, you have a beautiful past. We create our past by the present moment. That's why here and now, the present moment, very important for our practice. And in order to doing that successfully, or we have a chance to touch the reality, the real life, is the practice of breathing, mindful breathing. Mindful breathing will help us to cultivate the energy we call mindfulness. Satisfied? Agree? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Do you have a book that helps you meditate for long periods of time? Do you have any recommendations for books?
Okay, you say again clearly. So.
Do you have any books that like help you meditate for long periods of time?
Actually, I'd like to put the question back to you. Why would you, is there a need to sit for a long time or to meditate a long time? To meditate is to be able to help us reflect, like the previous question, to reflect on the past and hopefully be able to learn from the past, the lessons that life has given you in the past, so that we can have a less difficult future. Sitting meditation have many purposes. One, like our brothers just shared, is to be able to nourish our happiness. And from the foundation of that happiness, from that foundation of peace and stability, then we'll be able to look really face the difficulties that are within us, like the loneliness that the young man had also asked, to see and face and acknowledge and embrace the self-criticism we tend to give to ourselves. There are at least one book is How to Sit that you can look into. But the actual sitting, also the question before about the position of sitting, helps when our physical body is still, and our breath helps bring our mind and our body together here in the moment, in the present. Then that slows down that gentleness, that stillness of our physical body, lends itself to the stillness of the agitation, the distraction that our mind gives. So then that's why, again, our brother was sharing about the training of our being mindful of our breath, being mindful of how the air goes into our body and coming back out. Focusing our mind, our attention on the breath. Takes it away from our attention to the criticism, adding fuels to the criticism. Taking our attention away from the distraction, like the colors of people's clothing, the style of people's clothing, or the style of their hair. That's why when we sit, we have closed our eyes and we focus just in front of us. Just so that we, again, everything helps to bring that focus to one thing. And slowly with the breath, you can then allow yourself, when you're peaceful and stable, to come up, to allow and face whatever is in your heart at that time. Maybe it's a comment by your parents, or a act, or something that was done to you by your friend who should have known that that would hurt you. And you can just look at it and see why is it when that person does that particular action hurts you more than it was someone who you don't know. And just layer by layer, looking and asking, you can see a little bit more. Only you can understand the nitty-gritties around the situation. And then also look not just from your perspective, how you were hurt, but also looking at the situation, what prompted your friend to make that action. Was he or she in a good place? Was he or she had good, like bad news, etc. So again, meditation is for us to reflect. And we also need to know our limitation of meditation. When we can stay still and not be distracted, it takes time. Don't pressure yourself to just sit and for first training, just a few times to sit like more than half an hour. Actually, our teacher, whenever we have retreats like this, many of us have brought up to say why we should have people sitting like 45 minutes. And he says, that's too much of a luxury. People in society don't have that luxury to sit that long. But we train people, we tell them, oh, you have to sit 45 minutes to be able to get something. It doesn't help. Because most of the time, the first 20 minutes, what happens is that you're going to get distracted. You're going to allow yourself to just slack off, and you won't really focus. So if you know you only have 10 minutes, if you know you only have 20 minutes to sit, you're going to try to really focus and slow your breath and be still the moment we sit down. And train your body to be still, and in order to make much more better use of the next 17, 18 minutes, for you to relax your body, allow your mind to rest, and then be able to allow and face any difficulty that comes up and embrace those difficulties. And then slowly befriend with the inner child, that difficulty. And you can just need to embrace it. You don't need to understand it right away. Acknowledging it, like my sister was saying, acknowledging that you're lonely. Just be able to acknowledge, hello, my loneliness. It's already first step. And when you feel like you're getting agitated again, then stretch, go outside. Instead of sitting, do walking meditation. Take the hand of your loneliness and walk with your loneliness. So it doesn't need to be in a sitting position. It just needs to be in a meditative position. And with that, it doesn't need to be long. Again, just do it a little bit, and then do something else that gives you joy. Water your seeds of peace and stability, and then come back. It's just like an onion. You just need to peel layers and layers a little bit at a time. Or maybe Sister Ji Yim could suggest more titles, because she's with the editorial team for our Parallax Press, so I know there's House to Sit, and there's many more. Okay.
So if you want some guided meditations, we have a book called The Blooming of a Lotus. And that guides us with images, things to reflect on, can keep us more focused. The little how-to book, if you go to the bookshop, you'll see that, How to Sit, or a basic handbook. Could be Happiness by our teacher, also talks about all the basic practices. And online we have a number of video clips that have been made about the basic practices. So you could Google that or go to Plum Village online to see, to watch monastics talking about the practice of sitting, of walking meditation, of eating meditation, of Qigong. So those are some resources. But I agree with my sister, the quality is more important than the quantity. And we have so many mindfulness practices. Brushing your teeth, when you open a door, when you go in and out, what noise am I making? Eating meditation, just really being aware, putting your spoon and fork down between mouthfuls, focusing on the chewing, focusing on relaxing. So good luck to you. Thank you.
I wanted to ask if you've ever had any fears or regrets about becoming a monastic, and if it made you feel guilty and if so, how you would deal with that.
My brother, he became a monk very young age.
Wow, this is very difficult question actually. Yeah, I become husband since age 14, and then become novice age 16 in Vietnam, in Huế. And when I reflect back, it's more than 20 years now. And then I have fear, but it's not about regret. I feel like I have more deep connection to my parents than before. And I watch my life growing up, and I feel like I go through a lot of growing in spiritual, and I learn a lot. But sometimes I have tensions and fear. You know, sometimes we ask to offer Dharma talks, we never say yes at the first. Or we come in the organizing team or the special retreat, we never say yes at first. We always say no. Because like so much pressure that we want to offer the best, we want to do offer to the people. So I think fear, yes, we have some fear, sometimes pressure. When I came to, but I learned a lot. Is when I ordained at a young age, I feel like sometimes I be treated, also feel lonely sometimes. I feel like people treat me like I become like easy to be bullied by someone else because I'm small and short and I'm not good enough and not good talent. So sometimes pressure for me to learn and grow. So some kind of pressure me to grow quicker. That's why I learned English. Actually, in Vietnam, I already try to learn English because I want to understand people come to the temple. And also I feel like, because that pressure, and then luckily 2002. So my spiritual life is not like I come to the Burmese tradition right away, but when I ordained in Vietnam, I ordained in a tradition that a lot of rules, a lot of tradition, a lot of chanting and ceremonies, but a lack of brotherhood and a lack of togetherness. So 2000, I think the first year 2000, yeah. That's the first group of Burmese monks and nuns came to Root Temple to just attending the ancestral teacher, Patriarch Mero Day, our so-called great teacher of our tradition, is teacher of Thầy, our teacher. And I saw first of them have 4 monks and 4 nuns. They walk together so slow and smiling so fresh, and they talking together, always asking. You know, it's so beautiful. And I look at that, I feel, this group, I want to become like that, monks and nuns. So I raised up the thoughts. And that year, I think actually I had to turn to, I think second year to become the aspirant. So 1999, and I started, and that is in summer, spring 2000. So I think age 15. So, and slowly I read about his books and Sangha. So slowly when I live together in a community, I think embrace me and then offer me the chance to explore and understand myself. And I think because of the community, that's why give me stay long in monastic life. But if no community, maybe I think I regret that I choose the monastic life. But the community is very helpful. I feel like I have second home, second monastic, second spiritual, a second family, and the spiritual family. And my family bigger. I have more Sangha moms. The mother and fathers of the monks and nuns is also my father and mother. So, thank you for your questions. But that questions give me I need to check again. Yes, sometimes we feel like embraced by the Sangha, And we practice. But when I look back, I feel lucky to become a monk at a young age. So I be free. I don't have partner nearby to take care. I don't have my own children to take care, but I just be together with children program, you see? Free, just 5 days. Not the whole 80 years, okay? 5 days and that free. But I think your mom, your dad's more like the whole year, huh? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Adult, if you have any question, please come and sit. We save time. Please come if you have question.
So I think throughout the day, I kind of get bogged down in my thoughts, meaning like I kind of overanalyze a lot of things and think about what I'm thinking, if that makes any sense. And I want to ask you guys, how do you kind of deal with that and like stay more in the moment and kind of live your life fuller rather than just kind of thinking too much?
So, dear friend, thank you for the question. I also think that's a question many would like to have an answer to. So, our thinking is preventing us from enjoying our life. There are times when we need to think about something, but most of the time we don't. Most of the time, the thinking is just happening. In Buddhism, we often talk about the monkey mind, swinging from tree to tree, constantly from one thing to the next. Our teacher would often quote Descartes, who was the famous French philosopher, who said, I think, therefore I am. And a lot of Western society since that time has agreed with that, based on that, this Cartesian way of thinking, that thought can resolve all problems. But our teacher said, I think, therefore I am not. So thinking prevents us from living in the moment, from actually experiencing life. So a good way to get out of the thinking, depending on each individual, some people really find sitting meditation helpful. But other people, when they sit on the cushion, the mind just goes into overdrive and they can't stop the thinking. You could sit for longer and see if that changes, or you can try a different form, like walking meditation. Personally, I love walking meditation. Coming back to focus on our breath gives the mind an object. So instead of following a thought, I follow my breath. So we can do that in sitting meditation. And then we expand that awareness to the body. What's happening in my body? What are the sensations? Am I aware of the contact? Do you notice your feet on the ground? Do you feel the floor? Do you feel the chair? Do you feel that chair leg on your foot? Yeah? So often we're not aware of it. But when we bring our mind to the body and we feel the contact, We feel the temperature, we feel the light, we hear the sounds. We focus on the senses. This gives our mind an object which is not that constant narrative. And we can explore what's going on inside the body. So the Buddha said to be aware of the body in the body, which kind of sounds a little mysterious. What is the body in the body? Is there another body inside? So for me, how I understand that is being aware of any tension. You know, is my heart constricted? Am I holding anything in my solar plexus, in my throat, in my shoulders, in my forehead, in my jaw? Just bringing my awareness really back to my body. And if I find any tension, then breathing and allowing myself to relax. And it might sound easy. I don't find it easy. I mean, it sounds very simple, but this is like an ongoing, lifelong practice. Giving myself permission just to be. Just to be okay with the body I have. To be okay in this present moment. To be okay with not speaking when others around me are speaking. Just to keep checking in, what's going on inside? What am I feeling? And then what am I thinking? Where are my thoughts taking me? Are they beneficial thoughts or are they not so beneficial? So we can do this throughout the day, you know, when you're waiting to eat lunch, when you've finished eating lunch, while you're eating lunch. We can continue to check in. And if we're outside, we can practice slow walking and really be aware of the contact of my feet and the earth. And I feel my foot moving, and I feel my legs moving, and I relax everything else. And I become one with what's around me. So if I can follow my breathing and follow my steps, all of a sudden my senses open up and suddenly I see the green of the trees. I start to notice they're different kinds of trees. I see the flowers, I hear the birds, I hear the insects. I see things I've never noticed. You know, I used to walk the same route before I ordained. I went the same way to the tram stop. And after I went to Plum Village and learned about walking meditation, I walked that way in mindfulness, and I suddenly realized I had never seen what was on that route. I had never noticed this house, I had never seen that tree. So the world comes alive when we come back to our breath and the body and inhabit the body. And when that happens, we don't think, we just enjoy. There's no thinking. So find an activity where you can have that experience and then build on it. Build on it more and more. And because it's so enjoyable, you'll want to go back to it. So maybe you can take a stretch of your daily routine. I don't know what it's like. If you cycle, if you take the car, but find a stretch from your house to the car, or your car to the shop, or your car to school, or wherever you're going. And commit to walking that in mindfulness. And during that time, that's your time. You won't be interrupted in that time. No texting, no phone calls, no nothing, no worrying about what's coming, just walking that stretch mindfully. And whatever's next on your agenda, you can deal with that when you get there. You don't need to think about it in advance. So that's just some of the ways I practice. I don't know if Anyone else like to add anything? Thank you.
Hello. My question is, what is grief? How do you experience grief? How do you learn to feel grief? Letting it go and learning to love again.
Look like my turn to answer. Grief. The question here is the problem came from our wrong view. We love someone, but if that person not with us anymore, or something happened with the one we love, the wrong view is make us feel suffering, really, really bad. But if you look deeply, nothing lost. It's always there. If you look deeply into your hand, look deeply into your body, your hand, your body always contains something we call the memorial cell. They are in there. And the best thing we can do is to cultivate our love by practicing mindfulness. We will practice for the person we love, and we will practice for us too. You know, my experience is when I lost the one I love. The first one is my grandmother. I spent the whole childhood with her. And the second one is my father. And the third one is my teacher. 3 big, very big suffering. But in the practice, I walk for my mom, I walk for my grandmother, I walk for my father. And I do everything to continue to Thai wisdom. Because Thai, he passed the wisdom to us. If I love him, I have to make that wisdom become alive. Not in the book, not in the theory. I try my best with the Sangha support. By breathing, by walking, I do for them. My grandmother never had a chance to walk in meditation. Every time I remember her, I walk for her. Because I know she's in me. If I'm happy, I can nourish my grandmother in me. My father, he doesn't have a chance to practice with us, to practice the sitting or to walking with us. So every time I remember my father, I sit for him, I walk for him. And I send my love to my father. After 1975, when we lost the South Vietnam, my father, he spent 10 years in the prison. How suffering he had. And I'm so happy because I know how to practice to help myself, to help my father when I lost him. And I have a chance to stand in front of him at the last minute and I say, thank you. I thank him because he's a wonderful father and I will practice for him. And until now, I still doing that. Every time, doesn't matter the sun or the snow. Every time when I remember him, I always practice for him. People inside of me will nourish me and will nourish my father, will nourish my grandmother. And I'm sure they are in me. They go back, I would like to go back to about the feel loneliness. You're lonely because you get lost, you disconnect with your plus ancestor and spiritual ancestor. That's why you feel lonely. Thanks to the practice, I can reconnect with my plus ancestor, my spiritual ancestor. And I practice for them, and they also support me to keep in me, continue as a monk, continue to practice. Peaceful mind, happiness will nourish yourself, will nourish the other one we love. That's my experience to answer that question. So thank you for your question.
of us are parents here. So if we see our child, for example, having a hard time, I don't know, I mean, for a kid, they feel everything like it's the worst thing, no, in the world, like sometimes. So my question is, so there's this idea of empathy, no, of feeling what the other person is feeling. But I feel like with mindfulness is, we also talk about the inner child. So sometimes there's things that could trigger us. So if we see our child like having a hard time, but we don't want to we recognize we don't want to be triggered, so we actually stay calm, and you can also see what's happening to your child. So my question is, how you balance between being like empathetic to your child and kind of feeling what they're feeling, but also being not triggered, staying calm, but not being distant from them, if you know what I mean.
Look like the question's still harder and harder. I remember in the beginning you promised you easy for us, but
I'll start, and maybe my brother and sister could add. When we see our loved ones, especially our children, because of their age and their inexperience and maybe not having enough experience in the practice, know enough of the practice to take care of their suffering, it does trigger. And it brings us back to when we're children, when we're younger and we're in similar situation, being bullied or being criticized, etc. But now we're the adult, and we do have the practices. And hopefully our personal practice is enough. If not, then we can find resources. The main thing, first of all, is for you to be in a position that you can be of help to your child. There are several examples that really help me to keep that in mind. Is when someone's in a pit, and you want them to get out of that pit. You don't want yourself to be in the pit with them. You need to be outside to be able to reach in and pull them out. So you need to be in a position where you can be of help. Similarly, like being a doctor, the doctor wants to help a patient to get better, get well. The doctor doesn't need to be sick, shouldn't be sick to help their patient to get well. He or she needs to be well himself, knowledgeable of the illness to be able to help the patient get well. So those two analogy would help you. So your first part is, first of all, is embrace and help your child be aware of the suffering. And just being there, like my sister was saying, just allowing the child to express their hurt, their fear, whatever, and just being there to hold it and letting it be expressed out. Just even 2 words, 2 minutes of it, and then take yourself to a place where you can nourish each other with peace, with joy, with happiness. Replacing the difficulty at that moment. Give yourself the buffer time to nourish yourself first. And then you yourself need to strengthen further, where you can be more clear-minded and stable. And then you can sit longer and be able to see what caused those difficulties for your child, and then you can walk him or her through that. If he or she needs to still be able to share more, then you need to listen more. Give them more space, more time to be able to express fully. And slowly you can work through, reflect together, meditate together on what's happening to the child, to your child, the feelings, the mental thoughts that are coming up for your child. So the meditation doesn't need to be on their own, and you can help your child go through that meditation and work it through. The main thing is having your own stability, your own clear-mindedness, and keeping check. Even you might even be able to share with your child that when you were younger, how you were bullied too, but now that you have a chance with the practice, and your child being younger already have a chance to practice, it's a much better situation now than when you were. So good luck with that, and try. And just, again, don't try to do it all at once. The problem probably built up a few days, even weeks or months. So don't think that you need to resolve it within a day. What I hear about the redwood trees, however many years it grows to be that tall, for 300, 400 years, it takes that same amount of years for it to really decay completely. But in the 300, 400 years for it to decay, it's a whole organism, a whole environment for many things to grow on it, many different lives, new plants to grow from it. So allow yourself, don't pressure yourself to try and fix things so quickly, but learn and be at peace and accept the process of healing, a process of working through. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. This is the last question. I'm sorry. Sorry. We have to end on time. I don't want any trouble with organizing team. Please understand and helping us.
I think I have an easy question. Maybe you can tell me, just to go back to my breathing. I've been living with and practicing with chronic illness for about 10 years, and it has changed my body, and I think it has changed the way my mind has been working. So when I practice bringing my attention to my breath, or to the blue sky, to the smiles of my children, there often is not a feeling of joy or happiness that arises. Sometimes there's the opposite effect. My suffering is increased because I know that it is there, but I am not so happy. So I have two parts to my question. Is it the subjective emotional experience of joy and happiness that we're seeking or trying to touch, or is there something else? That's the first part. And the second part, is there another practice you would recommend when I bring my attention to the wonders of life and there is not a feeling of joy and happiness that arises? And thank you for your stability and wisdom, and thank you for sharing your experience of the practice. The subjective emotional
So, thank you for your questions. Practice in our practice tradition, we practice to mindfulness energy. It helps us to recognize everything is going on. Especially also the one quality of mindfulness is when you practice mindfulness in the present moment, to help yourself to produce joy and happiness already. Look like we just learned the first Dharma talk. Thầy Khối mentioned about that. The joy and happiness cannot be like, you cannot get it when you're sick, when you're searching for, but need to practice every moment in our daily life. For me, it's like I feel like there is a body and there's opportunity to practice. So practice with this body. But sometimes we stuck into some problem that we have. And then, for example, you build a house, beautiful, just only one piece of brick is not straight. And then you see the whole house is ugly. And then destroy the whole house. Thầy said that is, you are mindful about your teeth. Right now you don't have toothache. And realize that is the time that you have toothache and you suffered. Right now you don't have toothache, and then you feel very lucky. Of course, you have illness, have a certain chronic pain, but the other part of your body is still healthy. I think for me, I love Qigong. I practice Qigong every day, as I love to do exercise and Thầy. One time I remember Thầy said that when I do mindful movements, I lift my hands and I feel my all ancestors raise my hands at the same time. I do exercise, it's not only to be healthy, to be cool, to be fit. When I do exercise, I move my hands because I see that as wonderful things. That's miracle because my hands still moving. I feel that as a meditation. Recognize that, wow, you have body and you still move your hands. And then you don't pay attention that, you have your back pain, but my hand's still good. And then from that, you have kind of hope. You have that kind of energy of positivities in your body and your mind. At the same time, you bring joy right away. But at the same time, when you feel that is your ancestor move your hand together with you, is that you are not alone. You practice and you live together with your ancestors and the same your descendants. So for me, one time, I have a heart problem in Deer Park. Somehow, I don't know, is that time 3 days, my heart bumped like this. It's very, very hard. And I think about I can die that night, actually. I don't believe I have that heart problem. And then the next day, I asked my sister and brother, said that, do you have some kind of weird thinking? No, I sit up and then I breathe in and I do sitting meditation. My heart still beating very fast. I go to the Sangha sitting, my heart beating so fast. And I just visualize like my heart is like my baby, my 5-year-old child. I breathe and talk to him, but he didn't listen to me. Still so fast. So fear is come up. Fear to death, fear to die. And I don't know what's happening. It's go 3 days like that. And I asked my brothers, the third day said that maybe COVID effects. And the fourth day is I couldn't bear anymore, so I go to emergency. And then the doctor said that they make two times of blood test and everything normal. I said that please make another test. Because it's not normal, because I heard my heart boom, boom. I never have that experiences. And then they give up with after the second blood test. He said, you are normal, okay? So, and then he asked me about things. Okay, do you practice Qigong or yoga or meditation? And I said, this is my favorite things I do every day. Do you do walking every day? Yes, I do every day. Do you have nervousness? This week, we don't have a retreat, so I don't have a nervous to organize. So he have a ask question like that, but I don't have anything. But I experienced myself in that moment. Actually, the fear is very strong of the body, human mind. The fear, the heart beat so fast and trigger my fear, and then the heart beat faster. But after that test, I have more confidence. Nothing. From plus test, when I come back home, everything fine. So amazing. After that test, it's my heart. The next day is no more pump. I don't use any medicine. I don't know why. And later on, actually, I think maybe effects from the vaccine or from the COVID, I don't know. But at least I test, and I have confidence from the doctor. After that, I'm fine. So it's exercise every day, and sometimes you need to have extra energy from the sangha, from someone nearby you, from the not from medicine, but I think for me, medicine is every day you produce joy and happiness and confidence with your whole body, from your mind, and the sangha, your beloved ones. So sometimes it's good to asking for help. You can do that. Sometimes you can recognize that you are still alive. That is a good thing. Your heart still functions good. It's a good thing. And that is give you the extra medicine, extra vitamins for you to about your chronic pain. Your heart is okay. Your lungs is okay. You can speak very mindfully today. Good. You know how to practice. Good. You have sangha around you. It's wonderful. You still breathing. It's wonderful. So those kind of wonderful things is object of meditation. Breathing in. I know I'm still breathing in. Breathing out. I feel so good. I'm alive. Being alive is wonderful things to recognize. So thank you.
So, dear Sangha, we will end it here. Well, thank you so much for your understanding and for all your questions and listening to our response. Like you say, we already try our best. And again, I'm sorry for the question. We don't have time to answer for you. You can ask your question when you have Dharma sharing at 3:30 in the afternoon. Your family will maybe answer for you. Well, thank you so much. And one more thing I would like to, again, when I sit here, I look back, you are really beautiful. I'm not trying to please you. I'm not trying to make you love me, but it's really beautiful. And today and tomorrow, our retreat will end. So please treasure every minute, every time when you're here with us. And thank you very, very much to come here to practice with us. And thank you all sisters, brother, and stay here for this section. And now please enjoy 3 sound the bell. We will end with the bell. Thank you. So you can undo your leg, massage your feet, your body. And when you hear another sound bell, we all stand